And you seem pretty familiar with him because he doesn't really hide his association with this real wild plot that involves, drinking the blood of children and things like that.
No, he doesn't hide it at all. And you have a lot of people who are in this world of QAnon who say, oh, they don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They're just asking questions. With somebody like Jim Caviezel, he is openly embracing it. He's openly using its catchphrases and its concepts. He's speaking at QAnon conventions. And this film is being marketed to either specific QAnon believers or to people who believe all of the same tenets as QAnon, but claim they don't know what it is.
And The Sound of Freedom does focus on a real issue of trafficking. But that theme, it's sort of like that kernel of truth that feeds the QAnon conspiracy theory. Tell us how those two things work together.
Sure. And the most durable and the most believable conspiracy theories are not entirely false. There's something in them that is true and the rest of it is false. But the believers point to the one true thing and they say, oh, you don't believe that this particular thing is true. In terms of trafficking, we know trafficking is real. We know it has real victims. No one is denying that. But these films are created out of moral panics. They're created out of bogus statistics. They're created out of fear. And with something like Sound of Freedom, it specifically is looking at QAnon concepts of these trafficking rings that are run by the high-level elites and only people like Tim Ballard and only people like Jim Caviezel, and by extension, only people like the ticket buyer can help bring these trafficking rings down. So there's a very participatory element. You're not just going to see a movie, you're just killing 2 hours on a hot day. You are helping bring down these pedophile rings and save children. Now, it's not true, but it's a very comforting and it's a very warm feeling to have.
So I've been hearing a whole lot about this movie, Sound of Freedom, a whole lot. And, it's quite interesting that, a mainstream media platform would come out and bash a film that I would believe would be good for humanity, right? That seems a bit weird to me, right? And so, it makes me sit back and wonder, why do you not like it so much? Like the guy in that last clip admitted, yeah, that stuff actually happens, right? And I'm being careful with my words because, I don't know the policy on actually saying some of this stuff. But he admitted that it actually happens. It happens, and he still bashed the film. Like, regardless of whether or not, it happens to the extent that some people say, I think we should all be in agreement that bringing awareness to the fact that it is happening and possibly could be happening, on your doorstep is a good thing. It's never a bad thing to bring awareness to kids being possibly harmed. So why is it a bad thing to mainstream media? Kind of weird, huh? Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button. If you are new, please make sure you are still subscribed to the channel too. I've been unsubscribed from certain channels, so make sure you are still subscribed to the channel and have your notifications turned on so you are notified when I do drop these videos, all right? And with that being said, let's dive back in.
On July 4th, the #1 movie in America wasn't Indiana Jones. Disney spent $300 million resurrecting Harrison Ford and releasing the summer blockbuster. But there's another movie dominating the box office. It's called The Sound of Freedom, and it beat Indiana Jones on opening day. The film's based off the true story of Tim Ballard, a former Homeland Security special agent who saved kids from an international sex trafficking ring. This movie zeroes in on the multi-billion-dollar human trafficking industry and honors a hero, someone who saved children from sex slavery. But to the media, this person isn't a hero. Someone who rescues kids from pedophiles is a villain.
These films are created out of moral panics. They're created out of bogus statistics. They're created out of fear. And with something like Sound of Freedom, it specifically is looking at QAnon concepts of these trafficking rings that are run by the high-level elites.
For some reason, the entire media is smearing this movie as a dangerous conspiracy theory. The press is saying that the star, Jim Caviezel, is a QAnon guy. and Jim plays Tim Ballard, which is strange because just a few years ago, the same media was celebrating Tim Ballard's heroics. Watch.
Tim Ballard has one mission: to track down child traffickers. 4 months ago, Colombian authorities asked him to investigate a tip that children were being sold there as sex slaves.
Within a half hour, this individual walks up to me, starts asking me what I'm here for, what I want, and within minutes, he says, well, I've got kids as young as 11 years old.
So why is the media warning people not to see a movie about child sex trafficking that's based on a true story? Well, the Spear Fund founder, Tim Ballard, joins me now. So, Tim, why is the media hating this movie?
You know, I can't understand it. The film was made, produced, written like 5 years, 6 years ago, way before anyone heard the name QAnon. I still don't even know what QAnon is. In the meantime, they're trying to connect it to some conspiracy when, in fact, like you said, this is a true story. These are real kids. I mean, these kids are my friends. They're young adults now, the ones that were rescued. They're going to come out soon and tell their story. It's going to be very awkward when the mainstream media comes after these kids next and accuses them of being part of some conspiracy when, in fact, they were rescued from a life of... It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in the media, perhaps.
I mean, this publication says The Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brain worms, and that it fetishizes the torture of its child victims.
What? Yeah, this is just out of hand. I mean, my goodness. Why in the world would mainstream media be so against what I would see as a fine and good film? And as he said, this was filmed some years ago. If I heard the story correct, Disney, and I could be wrong, forgive me, but if I remember the story correctly, this was filmed some years ago, as he stated, and Disney owned the rights to the film and was never going to release it. And then some other studio or somebody came in and bought the rights to the film, and obviously now we have it today, which is just crazy that first off, that nobody was going to release the film. And then second, that the media is coming out and bashing folks for watching the film and apparently enjoying it. Now, I'm not a moviegoer, all right? I've admitted that even before I even knew this film had come out, because I always fall asleep. And it's just pointless for me to watch movies at this point. But from what I've heard, it's a fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. If you're a moviegoer, you should probably go and see it. It kind of makes me want to go and see it, even though I know I'm going to fall asleep. Because of how the mainstream media is bashing it. I have learned, whatever the mainstream media says, do the opposite. If they say something is terrible, it's probably really good. Right? So I'm sure this film is absolutely fantastic. And the fact that it beat a other big film out that had a huge budget, that had a big studio backing it, and this film was only in select movie theaters, and there's been some things going on. I may make another video about this tomorrow. Actually, you know what? I probably will, because there's been something weird going on that I've been coming across, and I would love to discuss that with you guys. So I'll probably make another video on this topic tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed and you have your notifications turned on. You're not gonna want to miss it. It's crazy stuff, man. It's some real crazy stuff. But yeah, it's just so weird, isn't it? It's so weird.
Is that what the movie does?
It absolutely does not do that. It tells a story based in truth. And, you know, what I think is happening, Jesse, I think that the left and these media outlets, they don't want to have a discussion that this film is going to compel. A discussion about why 85,000 children showed up unaccompanied at the border and got released into the interior of a country that is the highest consuming country for child exploitation material on the planet. They don't want to talk about why these same publications are pushing an agenda to change the word pedophile to minor attracted persons in order to normalize sexual activity with children. I think that's what they're trying to avoid, and they know this film's going to shine a light on all of the things, all the atrocities happening to children, and so they have to discredit it by lying about it.
So what would their motivation be to discredit a movie that's trying to shine a spotlight onto atrocities committed against children?
Well, if the truth of human trafficking and child exploitation were to be brought to bear, brought to light, then they would have to have a debate, a discussion that they don't want to have about, again, these policies around sexualizing children or allowing children to consent at a young age to do anything and everything, which would eventually include being, identifying as an adult perhaps and having with pedophiles. I hunt pedophiles. I've been hunting them for 20 years, and they are watching this and they're salivating. They are happy that Rolling Stones and The Guardian are ripping on a movie that exposes them. So I don't like the fact that these media outlets are, in fact, wittingly or unwittingly, running interference for traffickers and pedophiles.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen the movie yet, but now I want to see it because this thing made such a splash. Tim, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck at the box office.
Facts. I said this earlier, and I've said this before in previous videos. The media has destroyed themselves because now when the media comes out and, for example, bashes a film, people don't say, oh, yeah, it's probably a terrible trash film. I'm not even going to waste my time. Now people say, oh, I want to go watch that now, right? People do the exact opposite of what mainstream media tells them to do. And the further or the more that they do this, the further in the hole they go to where people just, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what they're telling me to do. Oh, they're telling me to, I'll pass. Oh, they're telling me this film is terrible. I think I'm going to go watch it, actually. Oh, they're telling me to stay at home and just comply. I'm going to go out and be a rebel now. We are doing the exact opposite of what they are telling us to do now, which just goes to show how low they have fallen. I mean, goodness gracious. Wow. For those that have watched this film, let me know. How'd you feel about it? Did you genuinely feel like it was a good film? Or was it just because of the message that they were trying to convey? Because it's one thing to, right? And I said this about music. All right, I guess my camera died up there. Anyway, I said this about music when I used to review music. It's one thing to have a great message, right? That's great. That's amazing to have a great message. But can you wrap it in such a package that it's an actual good movie, or it's actually good music, right? I hear the messaging in music. It's great, but the song is trash. The song, like, I will never listen to the song ever again. Like, I love the message behind the song. I can get behind the message all day, every day. But the song in and of itself is actually garbage. So that's my question to anybody that's actually watched the film. Obviously, I know the messaging is great, but is the actual film still good, or is it just too forced? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know. That's a genuine question, and obviously, I would assume that the film is great because of the box office numbers, and the messaging is fantastic. Obviously, that's not a question from me. Obviously, the mainstream media is questioning the message and calling it a QAnon conspiracy and blah 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 blah, which I think is absolutely crazy. That's not what we should be questioning. Well, we should be questioning some other things as well in terms of the messaging, but just the film itself, is it a good film? That's my question to anybody that has watched it. Is it a good film? Let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, this stuff is getting crazy, guys. Really, really crazy. Bashing a film like this with that messaging, kind of weird. Beyond weird. Scary. Because we all know what they're trying to push for. We all know. This is just absolute insanity. But as always, y'all let me know your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.